Hello and welcome to our channel, Living the Savvy Life, which is all about smart spending and looking at your finances from a lifestyle perspective. My name is Melissa Tosetti and this is?
Hi, I'm Kevin Gibbons.
And today we're going to talk to you about the importance of defining and designing the life you want to live before you create a spending plan. Kevin, can you elaborate?
Sure. It's really a matter of making sure that you don't put the cart before the horse. When a spending plan is much more than a budget, a list of numbers, and figuring out how to make sure that you have enough cash to pay your bills for the month. It really is the first part of defining how you want to live your life, and then making sure that you can fund it to live that life. Well, in order to do that, you have to figure out what kind of life you want to live. And this gets a little bit pie in the sky and a little bit dreamy and a lot very much practical. What do I want my life to look like and how do I get it there? Things as much as what do I see about the type of home decor that I would live? Where do I want to live? Do I want to travel? Things as far as abstract as that, to things as mundane as how do I want to eat? How do I want to spend my life? And it's really critical that you identify those areas before you start looking at the numbers, so you have some goal in mind. Remember that the money is a tool to live the life that you want to live. And so it's really critical that you know what your end product is going to be before you pick up the tool. Just like if you're going to build a house, you don't pick up a hammer and start driving in nails. The first thing you do is figure out what the house looks like. Then you know how to use the tools appropriately to build that house.
I
So
love that analogy. Yeah.
thanks. There are some specific aspects of that. And Melissa, if you want to talk about some of the specific areas, that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And one of the things I was thinking about that we really should have started this off with is that perhaps one of the reasons why your life on a day-to-day basis might not look like you want it to look is because you haven't defined yet what you want it to look like. And quite frankly, this is one of the reasons why we start to get frustrated when we're looking at social media and we're looking at what everybody else's life looks like, and we're kind of comparing what our life looks like to that. But we haven't told ourselves what we want our life to look like yet, right? And so if you want to take this to heart, right? If you decide that, you know what, I want to create a spending plan, I want to go through this process. This first part is the fun part. This is a grab a glass of wine, have a seat, and and sketch it out. If you're married to somebody, if you're partnered with somebody, perhaps you want to do this with your own glasses of wine, separately, share a bottle, and and do the same thing. Go through this process independently, and then come together with it. But some of the areas that you're going to look at is first of all, on a small scale, what do I want my dining out experiences to look like, right? Am I tired of going out to mediocre restaurants instead of doing that? Maybe what I really want is I want to go out to one really nice dinner on the weekend, a date night, if you will. Or I want to, I get the most enjoyment out of hanging out with my friends at our favorite bar, on the weekends, or I really just love brunch after church on a Sunday, whatever that might be. But you're thinking through it, right? So you've got that almost as a compass. Another thing to think about from that same perspective of food, and this might be just because I had lunch and it was delicious, is that you're spending on food at home, right? Are you sick of going to the grocery store? Maybe now's the time you want to really focus on pulling the trigger and starting to do grocery delivery. Or going ahead and signing up for that food delivery service, right? So again, you're defining that. Or you really enjoy cooking, and what you really want to do is sign up for a class so you can take that cooking to the next level. You're defining it. Then the next thing that you're going to do is maybe you're looking at, what do I want my vacation experiences to look like, right? Do I, on any given year, and this is all fluid. It's not like this is the structure that you're going to have and you're never going to deviate from it. We talk about serendipitous moments all the time, but it's a guiding point, because otherwise, again, you're that pinball, right? So the next step is, do I want to go on a couple of 3-day weekend road trips throughout the year and then have one big solid, I'm going to Europe trip, right, with the family or independently or whatever that might look like. But you don't have to decide where you're going to go. You just want to know what that experience is going to look like. And another one is also, what do you want your wardrobe to look like? Are you happy with your wardrobe and what that looks like? Or is this the time that in the next 12 months, you really want to invest and maybe hire a stylist or get creative around that? So you're going to define these different areas. And those are some of the top ones that we see. I missed one, which is really important. What do you want your evenings and your weekends to look like? Because I don't want anybody living for that vacation, right? If you're just, it's all about work, 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 and you're not thinking about or defining what you want to do on, in any given evening or on a weekend, that's not living. That is absolutely not living. So think about, I'm a fan of Netflix on a Tuesday night, or today we're filming this on a Thursday. It's going to be me and Netflix tonight. But on the weekend, I want to adventure with my family, just to give you some ideas around that. Once you have defined that and really written it out, then you're going to take the next step. And Kevin, you want to walk them through that?
Sure, I will. I'll add something first, which is, as a society, we seem to be very good at the very long-term planning. There's a lot of people who are working with financial advisors, financial planners. They're dutifully putting the money in the 401k. They're building for their retirement. They have a goal for the long-term future. And the generic goal in the United States today is roughly, I need $1 million to retire. All right? It varies, but they have a goal. All right. And so they work with a financial advisor. You have this goal of what your life is going to look like into some abstract 20, 30, 40 years into the future, depending on how old you are when you're watching this video. Where we're talking about is defining your life in a shorter time frame.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Like Melissa said, how do I want to spend my weekends? What do I want to do for my vacation? What do I want my life to look like in the next 1, 5, 10 years? Do I want to live in a specific part of the country? Do I want to live in a specific part of the have a specific type of house, a specific type of decor, whatever that is? The point is, you want to have that type of plan in place so that you're moving towards it and you're spending and saving with those goals in mind. So once you've gone through and you have defined what your life is, like Melissa was just talking about, then you want to start looking at things. What are your goals? What are those intermediate 1, 5, 10-year goals? I want to buy a car. I want to buy a house. I want to take an elaborate trip that I may have to save for several years. I want my life to look like this. I want to be in a position where I only have to work 4 days a week. Okay.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
You can do that. All right. There's a lot of people who've written books on how to do that. It isn't that hard, but you need a plan for it. And you need to adjust your lifestyle to suit that. So again, identifying those goals, identifying what your financial obligations are, because you need to know how much money you have to spend versus how much money you want to spend. And then once you have those set out, then you can start prioritizing. You can look at your financial obligations. Can I get rid of any of those? Can I improve any of those? Am I stuck with some of them? All right. In point of fact, you're really stuck with very few financial obligations. It's always a matter of choice. Some of the choices you may not want to, make that choice. I don't have to live in a house. I can live on the street. Okay, that's a little aggressive.
A little extreme.
But you can certainly decide whether you need to live in an $800,000 or $1.2 million house in San Francisco or in Los Angeles versus a nice $300,000 house in some parts of Kentucky, for instance. You can decide that. There are choices to make. So you want to define what your financial obligations are and what your financial wants are, and then you start prioritizing them. You start evaluating your different categories and going through and saying, which ones really are critical to the life that I want to live? Where can I make, I don't even want to say a sacrifice. You're just making the choice saying, this is not as important. All right, this isn't about sacrificing. This is about prioritizing and making the choices of what's important and what's not important. And then once you get that laid out, then that leads to allocating the money accordingly. You take a look at your income, you take a look at your expenses, you start allocating that money that's in line with what your desired lifestyle is.
Right. I think of the idea of creating a budget as is all about the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Writing a budget is all about the numbers. I feel like when it comes to a spending plan, there is an art form to it. And I'm not just saying that because I feel like that's what we do, right? There is a level of just, it's like painting a picture, right? You're writing your story. How much of your characters, your story, do you want going in one area, and how much do you want going in another area? And if you look at it from that perspective, if you look at it from a positive perspective of, yeah, maybe looking at the numbers isn't the thing that I find the most fun, but the rest of it, you know, the numbers are the ends to mean. I always get that phrase wrong. Is that right? Ends to mean? Yeah.
Means to an end. Means to an end.
They're the tool, right?
Yeah.
They're the tool, but you have to write the story around it, which is fun.
Well, one of the things that Melissa and I often do when we're working with clients is we will use the expression that the spending plan is the roadmap for the life that you want to live. And if you look at it that way, as opposed to, again, a budget, it puts it in the right perspective, because if you're following a roadmap down the road, you're in your car and you're going from one place to some place that you really want to end up with, you don't get upset that you have to stay on the road or you can't just drive all over the place. You're following the roadmap because it's the easiest way, usually the most direct way, to get to the destination you want to go. And it's the same thing with the spending plan. It's not that, oh darn, I'm confined, I can't do anything. It's keeping you from veering off into Albuquerque, unless you want to go there, and taking the most direct route to get where you want to go. And again, just like in a roadmap, if you see an exit sign and say, oh, wow, there's a point of interest that's really interesting, you can take that. You've got the roadmap to get yourself back on the schedule. It's this on the route. It's the same thing with a spending plan. If you see something that is interesting, you don't have to say, oh, that's not on my spending plan, I can't do that. If it's worth doing, you can make the choice to go do it and then figure out how to get back onto your plan. But that's the whole purpose of the spending plan. It helps you with a roadmap to get to where you want to go.
What I love about that, as you were describing it, it came to me. We talk so often about how if we do our job right in helping clients create these spending plans, the byproduct is their quality of life increases because they're going in a straight line. They're cutting through the clutter from what they're bringing into their home to the experiences that they're having. They're really picking and choosing and being very, very purposeful. Again, that's where I talk about this being an art form. Again, rather than, you know, slapping numbers on the document. So, you know, anything else you want to add on to this particular topic this time?
No, I think keeping this short and sweet and focused is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, we could jump on the desktop and talk for 10 hours about about this, but we don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole. But what I will tell you is whether, you know, you decide you want to move forward, create a spending plan, whether you're doing it yourself or you hire, you know, a company such as The Savvy Life, it really is going to help you to define that life you want to live and give you the plan to fund it based on your particular situation. So go out there, do it, have fun with it.
Yeah. Figure out where you want to go.
Yeah, and then just to wrap up real quick, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, as they say. You can check us out on our website at thesavvylife.com, and most of the social medias, the Instagram. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're very active there.
Yeah.
And am I missing anything, Kevin?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right. Thanks so much, you guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.